Hello, I wanted to make a video of me going over my YouTube channel and all the music that's basically on it. So I want to go over the main things I'm going to highlight in this video, and that starts off with this playlist, Let the Good Times Roll. This one is like based around Grateful Dead, and then kind of further down it goes into Jerry Garcia, some of the stuff that he started doing from there. Then we have Van the Man. This one is just based around Van Morrison. And then we have Bob. This one's just based around Bob Dylan. We have guitar. I'm wanted to start learning guitar. So this one's based around guitar, learning guitar, and yeah. Then we have this one called Music. And this one just kind of has, and I made this one really recently, and I haven't spent all this much time on this one. Has some good songs. But you will be seeing a lot more of my favorite songs, is what the main thing about this one is, favorite songs on here. And then some albums and stuff and such. And then from just on my actual channel itself, when you go to the saved playlists, I also want to talk about that because there's a whole lot of music here, a whole lot of albums. It's mostly albums. It's saved playlists mostly from other people, which is mostly albums. And you can just basically keep scrolling down and you can find a whole lot of albums. And so the whole point mostly of this whole YouTube channel is not only for you to be able just to go on it and find maybe endless amounts of music, a lot of music to be able to listen to in your spare time, but also variety, and it just highlights my favorite music, which I've found a lot of people can normally personalize things that other people personalize with. So I personalize with this to the extreme. I listen to music all the time. Music is such a big part of my life, so I would like to share a lot of the music that I have gathered, a lot of my favorite stuff. And if you like music, you're going to be able to find so much music with this YouTube channel, and maybe even find some stuff you've never heard, maybe open the doors to some different genres of music and stuff. So that's what this channel's mainly about. And I want to go over the first thing I started talking about, and that was the Let the Good Times Roll playlist. I kind of want to go over backstory of some of the stuff. So I started kind of wanting to make music for a while now, and I didn't know where to start. I thought, okay, basically to sum it up, I was listening to a lot of electronic music at the time, and it was good stuff, and I was like, I want to make some stuff that's like very unique and different and sort of my own sound. You know, it's always good for an artist to be able to have their own, whether they draw or they create music, to have it to where it's recognized because how unique it is. And that's, I feel like a lot of artists can relate to that. So I wanted that, and I thought my way of doing that would be through the electronic music. And long story short, it didn't click with me so much. I didn't want to be spending a bunch of time on a computer making music, and that was my main block for me, which stopped me from developing in it and spending so much time on it. Because I don't like spending as much. I like to spend as little time on computer and technology stuff like that as possible. So it was kind of weird for me. Then I started branching out to more music, started listening to the music that I used to listen to. And I went everywhere from Moody Blues to Beatles to David Bowie, all this stuff, ELO, good stuff. And it started making me think like, this music is really good. What else is there? So I started, actually what I did was YouTube autoplay, and it just started autoplaying just random. I would click on maybe like a random artist, and I was in this thing where it started just randomly playing other artists and other artists and others. And I started finding all this new music, and it was mostly just rock and roll music from like the 70s and 80s, mostly 70s. And I always liked that stuff, but it was me actually developing into finding out more artists and bands and stuff, and it was cool. Let alone, after a while, one day I stumbled upon Grateful Dead, and I remember it was Scarlet Begonia, Fire on the Mountain, and I was listening to it, and I was like, wow, this is really good. And then someone told me like, oh yeah, this is Grateful Dead, they're pretty good. And I was like, I've never really like listened to a lot of their music or researched a lot of their stuff at all, and I've I've seen a lot of people are like extremely into them, is what I thought. So I thought, maybe why not check them out? Let's see what they're all about, because this song was pretty good. It was different too. It was like, I like finding different music. It's like, well, that wasn't the same thing that I hear with all the other rock bands. So I thought that was one thing that really stood out. So it's been like over a year now of listening to them, because it's been fairly new. And but from there, I've had a lot of free time with this whole COVID lockdown BS, and being able to spend a lot of time being able to just find new music. And a large portion of that in the beginning was listening to Grateful Dead, because whenever I find an artist that makes a tremendous amount of music, for example, Mitis, when I was listening to EDM music, he made like these 5 hour long videos, and because of that, I was so into his music, because I was able to listen to 5 hours of consistently different music, original songs, each one of them. And so I found out, whoa, they make a crazy amount of music. So I kind of develop an artist when I find that, and I'll kind of devote a portion of time, which right now is Van Morrison, but to listening to all their stuff they have, because I just start, I don't know if it's an obsession, but it goes along the lines of just really having an extreme enjoyment for listening to it, and development in my musical just what I know music is, basically just broadening that perspective, because if I want to make music, now I know of a lot more music types of music genres, stuff like that. So let's get into this playlist. I want to do a little backstory. It starts with The Birth of the Dead, which is as I'm pretty sure as a group is their first studio album. And then you go into just songs, and some of them are studio albums, some of them are live, and the live ones are mostly like they'll play their song, they'll do a lot of jamming and stuff, which is something about them I really like, which was different, which I didn't really hear a lot of bands ever doing. And sometimes they'll play their song completely different the few different times, the next time they played in concert, or the next few years they played in concert, or whatever it is, they can change it. And I just didn't see a lot of artists doing what they were doing. And the complexity of their music it's complex, a lot of it, when you actually see like what they're doing with it. So we keep going, and we get some like jam sessions are here, actually. Kind of cool. We actually get one with, maybe it's not there. There's one with Dwayne Allman. Really cool. So you get Grateful Dead, Bob Dylan. That was really cool. At some point, you start getting into more of your actual... There's like certain sections where you kind of get your concerts. And the concerts are anywhere from 2 hours normally to, a lot of times, like 3 to 5 hours. And here's this, the red. I mean, the red. It's the blue, and then the red. And the blue and the red are the rarities, and not all of them are actual rarities, in my opinion. So I got most of the actual rarities that I've found and put them in here. And then you go down here. I don't think it's all loaded yet. That's like halfway through or something. So yeah, there's a lot, and it kind of goes in sections somehow if you listen to it, if you pay attention. Okay, here's kind of a break in a section. Right here, it really starts to change, and you start getting some different stuff, like pre-Warlocks, Grateful Dead, pre-Grateful Dead. It was some band that they did before both of those. You get like Jerry Garcia acoustic band down here, Jerry Garcia solo acoustic concert, Grateful Dead with Bo Diddley, Jerry Garcia acoustic band full album. That one's really cool. I'm pretty sure they're the same people from the Jerry Garcia acoustic band as Old in the Way. And then we'll go into that. And then you get your Jerry Garcia solo albums here. And these are in actual chronological order here. Nothing really in this playlist is in chronological order at all, except for this and the Jerry Garcia albums. So you have your Garcia, Compliments, Reflections, Run for the Roses, and then Cats Under the Stars. And when Jerry Garcia was asked, and I read this in a comment, so this is what someone said, but I believed it. And they said when Jerry Garcia was in an interview, he was asked, like, so what sort of musical work are you proud of? And when he was asked that, he basically said this album. And, I don't think a lot of artists are always saying that they're very proud of a lot of their work, and a lot of them critique themselves a lot. I think it's just something a lot of artists do. So for an artist that's also really good at what they do, to say that this is their best work, or their work they're most proud of, to reward that better, then it's probably some really good stuff. And I'll say I can verify that. I've listened to it. The guitar solos and the tone in his guitar in this album are just great, and the songs and the lyricism are great too. But when you hear the tone of the guitar in this album, it's like so great. It's like, yeah, you really have spent some years developing, being able to have a really, really nice tone. This show, I'm pretty sure, is the show that has the best recording of Stella Blue. And I have that, I think, like 2 other times saved here. Like, one's in the beginning, you'll see it, and it's like Crazy Fingers and Stella Blue. And then you go down further, and further down I have it saved one more time, because it's so good. It's like, if I'm playing through this playlist at some point, I want to hear it. It's so good. You actually go down to here, you get Old in the Way, which I was talking about. So I'm pretty sure that was the same people as the Jerry Garcia acoustic band. And that's really good. That's like, it's basically, this Old in the Way, it's like bluegrass music. Kind of your fast tempo, din 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 din, like banjo and mandolin and stuff like that music. And you get Jerry Garcia playing the banjo, and it's very different than when he's playing the actual electric guitar, and he's playing so complex and so quick, and it's like, it's not all over the place, it's just like so much happening so quickly. It's like, it's like, whoa, it's almost like high BPM, older high BPM bluegrass music or something. It's good. Wouldn't say every song is like that, but some of them. You get your Jerry Garcia band live show here. It's really good. This is really cool. You have your Grateful Dead and John Fogerty. You get 3 different versions of that. And this one has John Fogerty in it, and this one is just plainly John Fogerty with Grateful Dead. And this one's Jerry Garcia, John Fogerty, and Friends. So I don't know if that's just what they're called. So then this is cool. You get Neil Young with Grateful Dead, and then one of my favorite songs they do is Let the Good Times Roll. That's somewhere up near the top of this playlist. But I found this, and it's a Neil Young tribute to the Grateful Dead. And in it, he says "Let the good times roll" a few times, and I thought, I have to add that there. And he talks about, like, listening to Grateful Dead on the radio. It's just kind of funny. Like old school music. It's like gives him the feels or something along those lines. And then it's Grateful Dead with Ned Lag and Sea Stones. Kind of something they didn't. It's kind of rare. Then you kind of do get some interesting stuff down here. You get Jerry Garcia and Meryl Saunders. You get Bob Dylan and Jerry Garcia full album Let's Keep It Between Us. Garcia and Grinsman. Jerry and Grinsman are always good. And I have the Bob Dylan Grateful Dead rehearsals here too. And I have some Grateful Dead rehearsals in here as well. I think that is further down. And that's kind of funny because you hear them rehearsing some of their songs. If you know their songs, you'll hear them rehearsing it. So yeah, lots of different stuff. And then you get actually Grateful Dead with Bransford Marsalis too. That was really cool. I found this other one later actually, which is your Bob Dylan and Grateful Dead. Bob Dylan, Grateful Dead. That is good stuff. Oh, here it is. Grateful Dead Rehearsals. I wanted to find that before I moved on. Okay, so Van Morrison. Van Morrison has changed my outlook on music, and I swear so many artists have done this, but this one's more modern for me. This one's just happened more recently. It started from the Grateful Dead, that's why I started there. And from there, I kind of got introduced to some more rhythm and blues music, and then maybe slightly jazz. And from there, I started listening to some more, the main artists that branched out from there that stuck out were Steve Winwood, and then Steve Winwood in his older days when he starts like doing more stuff, he kind of redoes a lot of the stuff that he did in his older bands because he's been in multiple bands, and he under his name now Steve Winwood he'll kind of redo a lot of those songs, kind of more jazzy and stuff. So when you listen to the older versions of his songs, they're not as jazzy, but the more current ones, I was getting kind of like some jazz in it. So that was that, and then Van Morrison, and I was like, wow, Van Morrison makes some good music, and I've heard some of this stuff before. I would like these songs, and I didn't know who the artist was. I just knew the song. So I started developing into more of his music, and then I found out, okay, he doesn't just make good music, he makes a lot of music, and he's been doing it for a long time. And the one thing is, people say Grateful Dead, they say, oh, they made music as a full group for 35 years, which is extremely impressive. And normally I'll hear what other band does that. Well, Van the Man himself has been doing that longer, and he's still doing it to this day. And he's still doing stuff in 2021, and his last album was released May of 2021, and he is in his 80s, and he is still he's a songwriter, he's the singer, he's also, when he goes up there, he composes the music. You'll see it, he's basically a composer as well. When you see his live shows, he's an instrumentalist. He'll play the guitar. In a single concert I've seen him play the guitar, the saxophone, the harmonica, and the piano. It's like, that's pretty cool. And he's really good at playing all of them. He kills it at the saxophone. He is so good. And his songwriting is phenomenal. I love it where some of his songs have such complex songwriting, very meaningful, make you think a lot. Some of them are so simple. Most of them are always meaningful, but I love it where you get some of your extremes of super simple songs, and some of them are like the opposite of that. You get everything in between too, because there's a lot of music here. So basically this playlist starts in chronological order of his live concerts and his live albums. And let's see, which one was, I found some that were really good recently. So these two were really good, like especially if you've listened to his albums. What I did is I listened to all of his albums, and then I started listening to his live music, and then I already knew all the songs, and then I was like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. Those two were great. These two are the exact same thing, and I will end up deleting one of them when I figure out which one is better quality. I've every single thing that I've added here I've listened to all the way through. Good stuff. I think that one's really good too, but I remember definitely this album, Invocating the Protector of Angels, really good. Oh, this Van Morrison Live at St. Luke's 2008, really good, because that also has Georgie Fame in it. And those other ones that I found randomly had Georgie Fame in it, and it was so weird. I wanted to listen to certain songs, and I just looked up Van Morrison Live, and I clicked on like the first one I found, and it played the exact songs I wanted to listen to. And I was, well, that works out just fine. I remember when I first started listening to Van Morrison, I went paddleboarding on a lake, and I brought like a waterproof phone case, and I brought a waterproof speaker, and I tied it around my paddleboard, and I was just paddleboarding, and I had the music playing, and I played this concert because I wanted to start listening to Van Morrison because I just thought it was good music, and I was like kind of blown away. I was like, oh geez, like I need to listen more to this guy. was kind of like the beginning of me finding him out. Then you have these two are really good. These two are really good. And then after that, you get your. It's mostly studio albums. There's a few live things in here, live songs and whatever, but it's mostly studio recorded versions of songs from his albums. I like my favorite ones mostly. It's hard to pick. I don't want to put too many from one album, so I just like pick like my really top ones. And yeah, if you listen to it all the way through, it should be really good. I haven't listened to it all the way through yet, but I will. I've just kind of been adding to it and creating it. Yeah, so you will find some good stuff there. And I highly recommend Van Morrison if you like music, because he is just so into music, and the stuff that he does with it is great. And if you don't like his music, then don't listen to him. But if you hear his music and you like it, just know that you will be able to find so much different new stuff, and you'll almost never be bored listening to his music, 'cause how much new stuff you'll be able to find. That's something really good about him. Then we'll go to Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's great. I kind of grew up, I listened to some of his stuff because my parents and stuff, and I haven't added too much to this playlist, and I will add some more. I need to listen to more Bob Dylan, and then when I start doing that, I'm going to add some more on this playlist. And he's in my opinion, he's one of the best songwriter poets, sort of say. Like every songwriter is sort of a poet, but something about Bob Dylan's wording of his songs and how he words stuff, it's really poetic, and it's very different. It's like when you listen to enough of his songs, there's not really any other artist that has pulled off lyricism that he has. It's very poetic. That's just the best way to simplify it. Starts off with the Bob Dylan Grateful Dead Complete Rehearsals. I find this very amusing and I love listening to it. It is awesome. You get Bob Dylan, and then you get Jerry Garcia singing along too. Sometimes just Jerry Garcia singing a few of the songs, and then you get Jerry Garcia playing solos. You get Bob Weir playing your rhythm guitar. It just sounds so good as a band. And you also have Brent Midland in there too. That's good stuff. So then you start going into my favorite mostly studio recorded versions of his songs. Good stuff. So like again, the whole point of these playlists in this channel is so you can basically just click on this and have a bunch of music to listen to. So then next is actually guitar. So this one is just, like I said, I've been learning guitar. I've been wanting to over the past year, and I've kind of buckled down the past months and actually started learning more. What was stopping me was I kept wanting to learn, and people just say, just play these chords and learn these songs, and from there you'll be able to play the guitar, and you'll kind of learn what other people are doing, and you'll question why, and you'll figure stuff out, and yada yada. And that's cool and all, but that was not my approach. And I already kind of I played some instruments when I was a kid. I played the violin in in elementary school. Jeez. And then in middle school, I played the clarinet all 3 years actually. And with that, I could read music, I could play an instrument, and I kind of got the reading music and like the amounts of time you play a note and stuff like that. I don't know the word for that. Jeez. Yeah. So I got kind of that down, the rhythm and stuff. But there was something missing, and actually then in high school I played the guitar and I did this class. But the whole thing about that class was I didn't pay all that much attention, because back then I did not believe in myself so much personally, and I was like, I'm never gonna really turn this into anything. I'm never gonna be a great guitarist. Like, I can't do that. Like, I should have started way long ago if I wanted to do that. That was my mindset, and I just kind of gave up. I started giving up when I started, I already gave up. So there was no chance of me putting too much time into learning anything. And I basically just kind of learned a few songs and a few chords, and with that I could play a few songs, and I thought, okay, good enough, I can play the guitar. And then when I started listening to a lot of music and I really got into music, I thought, alright, I gotta start making music. I've wanted to do this for so long. In the beginning of the video, it's kind of how I started. I've been wanting to make music for a while. So that kind of fell asleep. And then all of a sudden it got awakened again. And I said, wait, I need to start actually making my own music. So it started with me getting an electric guitar. And I got this, started with getting this guitar, the Squire, just electric guitar. And actually, I'm also gonna get the amp. And then on the same day, this was at Guitar Center. And this is kind of, it's all dusty, sitting somewhere off to the side because I don't use it anymore. And it was this cheap, it wasn't that cheap, but I think it just kind of sucks. I'm sorry, Fender. I think it's, and it is a Champion 20, and I'm not a fan. It has these options to where I didn't know this when I bought this, but when I got it immediately, was a little turned off by the fact that, okay, you had your gain knob, your volume knob, and then you had your voice knob, and the voice was tweed amp, black panel amp, British amp, and metal amp. And I was like, oh god, it's like an all-in-one sort of deal here. And then you get your treble, bass, and then FX level. It's like, FX? What's FX? You get reverb, and then you get chorus, you get flange, you get delay plus reverb, you get a wah, you get vibrato, and then you get tremolo. And then you can do the tap. And I was like, well, and at first I was kind of like, okay, it's an all-in-one amp, let's make use of it. Plug it in. I wanted to start learning guitar, so I just learned some, pentatonic scales to begin with and stuff. Because I wanted to actually just I wanted to be able to just kind of play some stuff note for note, not just chords. So, and then I plugged in the guitar to this amp, and just for like a few months, I just, we're like, okay, let me start with, first week I started playing it, it was great. And then after a few months after that, I was like, this is just, not really sounding how I want it to, at all. It's not sounding how I want it to. And I kept tweaking everything, and then I kept changing all the things, and I look up videos on YouTube, and there was like this one guy who'd be all, hey, welcome, I'm gonna teach you the Champion 20 amp. This is the best beginner 20 amp. This is the best beginner amp you can buy for any beginner. Here's the link for my affiliate down low. It's like, oh, so this guy's just trying to sell me. This guy's just trying to make money off me. And so he has all these videos talking about the amp and how he thinks it's the best beginner amp. Okay, well, if that guy ever watches this video, that is not the best beginner amp at all. You will not get the sound that you want, and you will be confused and let down, and you'll have to buy a new amp. And it's a waste of money because of that. I do not recommend. And this guitar is actually really good for the price. It's like $100 for this guitar. And this is sweet. So Squire, they do great for how cheap it is. Great build quality. No problems. Nothing was actually wrong with it at all. It's just like not the most, expensively built guitar at all. It's for sure. I guess I'll show you my other guitar I got too. So then I got a new amp, and what I got was a tube amp, and it was called a, I can't think of the name. Here's my guitar, and this was it was called an E-Art, E-A-R-T, ES335, and I'm sorry, but it's nice, but I don't recommend the brand, because when I came, the neck pickup worked fine, and then when I put in the middle, sometimes it would only sound like the neck was playing, and then I'd go on the bridge pickup, and then it would just sometimes not even have any sound plugged into the amp. And I thought, well, geez, what's wrong? So I had to like get a flashlight and bend this over like on a table and like literally be able to barely peek in the F hole. And then I saw they used stranded wire for their connections, and they didn't solder it, so the strands are literally just like spread out, and one of the strands was touching one of the leads where the power is coming into the volume knob, and I could barely move it with a wire that was bent in this weird exact shape. And then I finally got that out of the way, and now it plays fine. And I'm scared that it won't work one day, but it works fine. It doesn't have a back panel, so you can't really do anything if anything goes wrong, or yeah. So that kind of sucks. It's about $400, so it was not like the cheapest guitar at all. For an ES335, it's a good deal, but I kind of thought that, you know, spending that much money wouldn't have problems. I spent $100 on the Squire, and there's, like I was saying, not a single problem. Everything works fine. The tone is much better on that ES335 I just showed you, but other than that, it's just not the best company. Do not recommend the company. I also got this piano. Just like a piano, and I sharpied all the notes on it, the whole notes, so I can start learning more, mainly just intervals, and start practicing what certain intervals sound like. Okay, so this is what my triads sound like, this is what my second sound like, this is what my fifth sounds like, this is my major seventh sounds like, this is my dominant seventh, blah 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 blah, all that good stuff. I want to learn more music theory, and I want to hear the intervals, and I want to see the intervals, and then I want to translate that on the guitar better. And that was kind of that's kind of the method I kind of want to go by, because the guitar is complex and complicated for me, and if I can start understanding the piano more and the intervals between these notes, and also seeing the sharps and knowing after which note, and just categorizing like, okay, there's 2 flats here, there's 3 flats here in these sections of notes, and from there being able to translate that on the neck of the guitar once I memorize the neck of the notes on the guitar. That's the plan. Things always change along the way, but I think that's generally the route that I'm going, and it seems to be working pretty well. I'm starting to learn some stuff. So yeah, now when I play the guitar, I am being able to kind of practice the piano and then practice the guitar, and either one of them is helping each other. Mostly the piano is helping the guitar though. So really cool. And just playing the guitar and jamming out on the guitar and instruments themselves. I also go to harmonica, and just playing instruments and just kind of messing around with instruments and stuff has really helped me just be able to get like how long you play a note, and be able to play with certain time measurements and stuff, and be able to kind of get the rhythm down of songs. Like it's just fun to play music, and I bet if you go into anywhere and you pull out a harmonica, and even if it sounds crappy, even if you just start, if you're kind of like playing it, and if your general emotional state that you're projecting is kind of just playful and happy, I really would be very surprised if people don't smile. So it's really cool to be able to make people smile and to let people be happy, and I think that's a big part of music. Is I've noticed that I've been kind of interpreting lately that people play music all the time. People get in their car, they start playing music. People go to work, they play music. People make a video or a movie or whatever, and there's background music, and there's so much music in our day and age right now. I love it. So I want to become a musical artist, and so I'm the road to get there is learning these instruments for me, and I'm also doing some songwriting too. I've wrote one song I think is really good, and I'd love to release it at some point, because it has a really solid message to it. So you'll get some music theory and just some learning basic things in the guitars. I don't like know all this like this here like the full arpeggio workout. Like that was like a little over my head. I mean it's just a tryout workout, and if I really spent the time, I could probably learn and stuff. But when he gets into all the stuff that you see him if you watch that video, it's like, whoa. Watching videos like this was what made me realize I need to study music theory more before I just jump into playing this instrument, because that's not everyone's mindset. But I listen to like a lot of jazz and stuff, and if I even want to attempt to start playing stuff like that, okay, well, I don't want to just get like a C major 7 and just play it. I want to understand how to play it and play it from knowledge and be able just to create it from understanding how to create that, which now I can do, especially on the piano, half a second. But like I'm saying, being able to translate on my guitar now would be really cool. And then here's one that's music. That actually should have been. It's kind of funny. I should have put this one after the other stuff because it kind of went along with it better. But whatever, doesn't even matter. This is music. I need to add more to this. The whole point of this is like favorite songs, favorite videos and albums and stuff, but I just need to add a lot more to it, so later on you will see a lot more here. There's some good stuff here. It's I like about this is some of this stuff I'll remember a song that I listened to like years and years and years ago, and I'll add it, and back then I would listen to maybe some different music, so there's some like this one, Pepper Hose. That one's funny, and you'll just find a lot of variety here compared to the other stuff in this playlist. Get some Eric Clapton here. You get your Greg Allman solo album. That's so good. Oh, this keeps getting in the way. I don't want that there. I want this. I'm gonna go back here. Okay. All right. Oh, actually now, I don't. That light. Get that light out of there. Okay, now we're good. Now we're set. Yeah. Allman Brothers live at Fillmore. That one's so good. Ooh, Little Feat. Should really check out Little Feat if you like rock and roll music or just music. They do some good stuff. Their albums from like the 70s and stuff with can't think of his name. They're really good. I don't want to think about. I'm thinking about this. So, yeah. Ooh, Van Morrison, Vanilla Stairway. This is from that St. Luke's 2008. This one's so good. You get a little David Bowie there. I just found out this Bill Fisher thing that was a little different, but I mean I was like, let me like keep an open mind. Let me check that out. I don't like to keep too open of mind. I like to be balanced in life. This is off topic, but I never like to keep too open of a mind because I have done that before, and sometimes you can have a mind that's a little too open to certain things, and sometimes when you learn from that, you don't want to do it again. So you go, okay, I want a balance of everything. I want to balance of also how open I am. So that's off topic, but here, look at this. You get Tchaikovsky. I used to pronounce it differently. Tchaikovsky is great. If you listen to Edvard Grieg and Tchaikovsky, and just like these long videos, or there's longer ones too, you will recognize at least some of the songs, if not most of them. These songs have been used in movies and TV shows and stuff, and you'll hear it, and a lot of them are just like nice sounding songs, and for me, sometimes they just kind of paint a picture in my head of like walking around a nice town with birds chirping around, buses boop 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 and stuff like that. If you hear it, you may know what I mean. It's more old school music. I think some of it's kind of like from the 1800s actually. So the fact that it's still, the quality of it's still great too, and the fact of that, I think I wrote in one of the comments, if you see, I said it really shows how precious music is to us, that we will preserve these sounds for so long. Just these sounds, we'll preserve them for hundreds of years. It shows that they really mean a lot to us. This is the band The Last Waltz full concert. Found that really cool. Hopefully that does not get taken down. Your Neil Diamond Chicago show, that was really good. Yeah, Grieg Piano Works. So just lots of stuff. Traffic, that's a band that Steve Winwood was in. I think that was a lot of his lyricism went into this band. And then also there's a band called Blind Faith, and that is Steve Winwood, and a lot of his lyricism's in there too. And this one's really good. It's like 3 hours of Tchaikovsky. Yeah. I'm gonna be adding more to this too, so this is not just like solidified where it's gonna be. It's gonna keep growing. And then here we have what I was talking about, my save playlist, where it's mostly just albums. So, look around that. I also have some other creative playlists as well. So, and some of them are pretty cool. Oh, there's a few backing tracks here. I'll probably, once I start playing more guitar again, like consistently, because right now I'm more learning than playing. I'll probably add more to this at that point. I have a Dave Bowie playlist, which basically just has some songs from David Bowie, and it's mostly just some albums that I like. And it's just kind of meant to just be played through. Moody Blues, this is some really good songs from Moody Blues. I created the Porter Robinson's World because no one else did. And then a million other people did after I did it. I created an African's Herbsman album because no one had the songs in actual correct order. So there's some stuff like that where you'll just see some like average albums that I created and stuff. Good Music. Oh, I didn't even mention that one. Good Music was the original music until it stopped letting me add videos to it. Now if I add a video to it, it just doesn't add to it. It says it adds, and then when I go to it, it's not there. So I made music because of that. And this one you just kind of have same thing, really good songs, some of my top songs and top music and stuff. And this one was created such a long time ago that you will actually start getting some of the stuff I used to listen to some years ago, which has really changed by now. Okay, now that we're done with that, I kind of want to go off on something that's on my mind, and it's the fact that what a lot of this music has shown me is that, and it's no offense to whoever makes music nowadays, and this is not every case, but it's your average case. So it's that most people nowadays, when they're making music, do not have the understanding of music theory or just the expertise to be able to play an instrument very well and have an actual, like, be a pro at playing an instrument, basically. Like, a lot of your music, your average music played nowadays is nothing of that, and a lot of it's not even original. A lot of it's just recreated, and maybe a lot of music is not completely original, but the amount of the minuscule amount of original music that's around right now, it seems like, is sad. And I will hear a lot of songs that are like released. My coworker plays a lot of songs, and he literally hears some songs that I know are stolen, the whole beat and the whole lyricism from a song, let's say Steve Winwood wrote a long time ago, everyone forgot about, or most people in this day and age don't know about, this generation. So it's like, huh. And then people are saying, some people could argue keeping the music alive, where you're doing the same thing where other people would do a cover of a song, but there's something a little different about today's music, it seems like. And I would just say the message of music has really changed throughout the years, and the reason for why people listen to it has really changed. It kind of shows a lot of history, and it kind of reflects the people. But the real interesting thing is that when you listen to a lot of music right now, what people are obsessed with is high BPM And it has to be super clean sounding too, which is always, it has to be so clean and crisp, perfectly crisp sound. And then kind of like an experience on top of it. Maybe not all music, but I feel like a lot of music nowadays is built upon the idea of it being an experience of sound, which is awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's just the essence of it is completely different than some of your other songs. Okay, so you go way back, let's say, to like your Tchaikovsky and Edvard Grieg, and a lot of that music, when you listen to it, your orchestrated music, is, in my opinion, based around just trying to sound nice, just trying to sound elegant and nice. You see where it's a little different. And when you listen to the songs, you'll feel at peace, you'll feel calm, you feel like you don't need to rush your life, and you don't need, sometimes it goes like you'll start thinking just like, wow, life doesn't need to be so complex. Like, I need to be more grateful just to be able to breathe fresh air and look around all these birds and eat some food. And I don't know, there's some music really does change the way you think, certain music, when it's played too. But it's just kind of interesting to see how much music has changed throughout the years. You start to go more in the 60s and then the 70s, and you get more experimental stuff. And from there it branches out from sometimes your more mellow stuff and sometimes your more intense stuff. And I feel like there's a really a gap there with a lot of genres of music that started progressing more mellow and or more intense and hardcore. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting. And I normally like the more nice sounding music that, I mean, maybe it all sounds nice, but the music that sounds nice to me is some of the softer stuff that doesn't have to have a million notes all at once, a super crazy BPM, or like the most crisp, amazing sound, or like the most perfect auto-tuned vocals or something like that, where there's no voice crack or no personality to the voice or anything. So you know, I really think that I wish people would kind of look at the music they're listening to and compare it to other music and ridicule it a little more, because some of the stuff that's played nowadays, the gist of it almost seems like everyone forgot all the stuff everyone was passing down for generations, which led up to just like this huge musical boom in like the, you know, it seemed like kind of the 60s, which you get just phenomenal music being played, which so much music was created in those eras of like to the 90s that are literally still, there's so much music created that it's still being played on the radio to this day, every single day. And it showed a very creative moment of music, but it also showed that people were really spending a lot of time getting into music and understanding it. And I think that what the problem is with electronic music nowadays is that it's almost like people don't want to learn all the stuff that everyone else passed down for generations and generations and generations, and music theory and learning and progressing and creating new instruments and all this stuff. And I feel like people kind of threw that out the window and said, I can do it better by myself, like not in a group of people, but 100% by myself on a computer, because it's the modern day and age, and I can make better music that's surpasses what other music could do because of the technology these computer programs have. And I get that, but the result is not that. And when you start listening to more of your instrumental music, you almost start to realize that these instruments are little creations to be able to express musically. It's literally just that, to express yourself musically. And they're created from a extreme understanding of music that has evolved and been passed down through generations. So what I'm getting at is almost like your instrumental music and your instruments themselves, they have like thousands of people's hard work, time, and thought put into it. And I guess you could argue that your electronic music goes from there and takes it to a next level, but from what I see, it takes all the stuff the instruments can do mostly and puts it on a computer program, which then you're leading one guy to do the rhythm of the drums and the rhythm of the bass, and then the and the the lead over, and who knows what piano, who knows what kind of music you're playing. But basically, it's an all-in-one deal for a lot of this music nowadays. And I don't see that that's like a bad thing, but I do kind of see it as a little bit of a problem when you want to make really good music, because when you compare it to a group of like 10 people coming together and each one of them focusing on this one instrument, which is full of just like a vast amount of progression of music put into that for someone to be able to express that, it kind of is like the people that play instruments are kind of able to beat the people playing music on the PC for a few reasons. And one of the reasons is a group of people playing instruments can literally just, you can get the drummer to start playing the drums and the bass guitar, and that you can just literally get people to start making a song right now, live, right now. And with your electronic music, you can't really do that. And if you want to do that, you can kind of do something to where you start playing something and you put something over that and you put something over that and you put something over that, and it starts creating this thing. But now change the drums and change the bass and change the, you can't. So now it's already set. So the whole thing about an instrumental band is just what they're able to do. And they could improv, and they could change something, and they could completely change the time signature they're in, and the key that they're in, and they just instantly, and they could randomly, this crowd could say, play the song for 10 minutes, they could play it for 10 minutes, and I find that really cool, because it kind of actually seems like there's less boundaries with instrumental music. So I kind of went off just on something there, but it's kind of me saying, I really want to see music almost getting back to where it was. It seems like people kind of forgot about instrumental music for the main point of today's generation. So that's just my opinion. I hope I didn't offend someone. If I did, then yeah, that is too bad.